Good morning. I normally don't make gun videos. I don't anticipate becoming a gun video channel. But I recently purchased this Dan Wesson Pointman 7-45, a 1911 style California compliant pistol. And it seized up on me after putting about 27 rounds downrange. I had lubricated it before taking it out. I had not disassembled it and cleaned it, but I had taken off the slide and sprayed all the working pieces with rem oil, and it still seized up on me. Now, Dan Wesson does anticipate, apparently, these kinds of issues. So they recommend heavily that you lubricate the living crap out of it every 50 rounds. Disassemble it, clean it, and lubricate the crap out of it every 50 rounds. Now, apparently I had not used enough gun oil. I used the amount that I normally use on a pistol, which is a very light coating. But when they mean to lubricate heavily, they mean to lubricate heavily. So this gun is empty. There's no magazine in it. Obviously, the chamber's empty. So what we're going to do, I'm upside down to the camera. This is what we're going to need. We're going to need a piece of spring steel, which I have cut from this paper clip. So you can see that this is one of that little guy right there. Need piece of spring steel. I also like, this is a flat pick. It's plastic. It came as a part of, as a set of gun picks, plastic gun picks. So it's designed for this particular application. I'm sure if you used a piece of wood or something like that for what we're going to end up using this for, it would work just fine without damaging the gun. This, I'm going to call this a slide stop. I'm going to call that a slide stop notch. And I'm going to call this just another notch. What we want to do is to, step one of this particular process is to move the slide back to the point where this notch, not the slide stop notch, but this notch is above the part of the slide stop that would normally go into the slide stop notch. Sorry if that sounds confusing. I want this little notch here to go right above that raised part right there. And this is going to be an awful bit of jiggery pokery because I got to do it on camera. But if we get it back far enough, this right here, which is the other side of this, we'll be able to just push it out with finger pressure. So that's what we're going for. And again, I'm doing this upside down and backwards for you. So bear with me if this isn't the smoothest operation ever. Boop, out. And then we should be able to just get the pick under it and work it loose. So now we have this piece out, right? Don't let go of this. Slide goes all the way back, and then you could probably see that there is a little hole there. There's a little hole. And we want to take our piece of spring steel, and we want to put the short end in the hole. Short end in the hole. Now we have the short end in the hole. We're going to let our slide rest on that. And then we're going to move the slide forward. And there we go. So that's step number one down. Maybe you can see a little bit better like this. That's step number one down. That's where you should be at right now. You've got your frame, you've got this piece, you've got a moth, and you've got your slide. Okay? So the next step is to get this piece right here out. And it's hard to do in the position that it's in because this piece of spring steel has to clear past this, and we're going to want it on the bottom anyway. Luckily, my thumbs are very tired from all this figuring out how to do it. luckily there's another hole on the bottom. Take your spring steel, switch it to the bottom, and now it's on the bottom hole. There's a top hole and there's a bottom hole. So there you go, top hole and bottom hole. Then you just want to push that back, and you should be able to get your tension spring out. Don't pull your spring steel out. Leave your spring steel in there. All right. So this is where you should be now. You might wonder why I'm taking so long on doing this and showing you this is where you should be now. It's because I've seen so many gun disassembly and reassembly videos where they're like, oh, just click, click, click. And you're like, what the F just happened? So anyway, next step is to get the barrel out. Now the barrel won't come out in its current configuration because it won't go forward and it won't rise up because it's being retained by this. I'm going to call it a collar. This is a collar. I'm going to call it a collar. And this collar will move side to side, right? You can rotate the collar. Woohoo! So if this front sight is 12 o'clock, we want to move the collar till it's about 4:30. And why 4:30? Well, because inside here, there is a little retention raised part that fits in a channel that circles around this. And we want that retention raised part to be at the point where it can slide out through the gap right here. So right about here, it should be able to slide out of the gap. There we go. And there's that raised part. See that raised part right there? All right. And then the barrel itself comes out through the front. Bada boom, bada bing. And that's where you should be at now. This is fully assembled or fully disassembled, at least as far as the field stripping, assembly, and disassembly. Obviously, I haven't gone into any of the workings in the trigger group or anything like that. I'm not smart enough to, and I haven't needed to be perfectly honest with you. But this is field strip, so this is as disassembled as it gets. Now, the next step is how do you reassemble it? And what everybody tells you is to just do everything in the exact reverse order. And basically, yeah, that's what you do. First thing that goes back in is the barrel. Again, the barrel just slides right in through there, right into the front. Then you take your collar, your barrel collar. Again, it's got to go in at that kind of a offset so that that little raised button will slide into that channel. Then you want to center it up. You want to center it up nice as you can, because the next piece that goes through it. So when this goes in, a couple things. First of all, this that cut portion right there, that's riding against the barrel. So if the barrel is the bottom, then this is going to go like that. All right. Second thing is this part right in here is going to go in to this part right here. And this part right here that looks like the little collar on it is going to be sticking up out the front end, and it's going to end up being flush with this piece. So it's going to be right about there. So the way that goes is barrel all the way back. This piece right here moves, so flip it all the way back. You don't want to leave it all the way back, but until you get this in, you probably want to have it all the way back. All right. So you see how that's now those two collar surfaces are flush. That's what you want. Then move your little floppy bit back forward. Now, it doesn't have to be all the way forward, but you don't want to be back here because this piece has to go through the frame and then through this and then back out the other side. So we have the collar, or I'm sorry, we have the barrel in, we have the collar back on, and we have the tension spring put into place. And so this is where you should be at. Now, on the back of this, you see there's cutouts, there's grooves. On the front of this, you see there's these channels right here, grooves. You want to put the thing in the thing inside it forward. Now, it always takes a little bit of jiggery pokery to get past this point, because it is very tight like a tiger. There we go. So you should be able to see, I don't know if you could see, but you should be able to see through this hole right here. You should be able to see that we are close enough that we should be able to work this through. This is rounded, so it'll help it in. Now, you're not going to put all the way through. Obviously, you're just going to get it like that. Now, one thing that I have found is you want to make sure that this piece isn't up and it isn't down. It's right dead on about where you want it to be at the end. It just makes it a whole lot easier to do this if it's just kind of in the right spot. You want to slide your slide back. It should be easy since you still have your spring steel in there. It should be pretty easy until, again, that second hole, not the notch, not the slide stop notch, but that secondary notch is over the end of the slide stop, and then you should be able just to push it in. Make sure that it's actually coming out on this side. You should be able to feel it. It should be flush. And then continue to move the whole thing back until you could actually set your slide stop. So now you have your slide stop set. The only thing left to do is to pull this out, which, as you saw, just fell out on its own because there's no tension on it anymore. And then you should be good to go. Do a function check. And there you go. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.